creating your life as you go.
You live alone, creating your life as you go. That's one of the problems with this narcissism epidemic. Believe me, it doesn't make anybody happy. Even the narcissists aren't happy. It eats up at them, and you know, that's why you got drug addiction, suicide, mental disorders. I mean, you name it. I mean, look, I keep on telling everybody in Washington, I'm like, oh, and your opioid epidemic today is an improvement over what we had in the past? No, let's sweep it under the carpet. I mean, believe me, everybody, when we get in, you know, all of these people in Washington, the ruling elite and everything like that, who are in the public service, these people, their paychecks, everything is paid by taxpayers. They work for the people, and they have to answer to the people. So once I get them in the court, oh, this is going to be very interesting. Who's on drugs here? Who's got psychological problem? Who's had suicides in their family? Now explain to me, you know, how you people are so above board and you know, respectable. See, this is the thing. It's all a facade. It's all a facade to produce this allure of respectability. And that's what I actually didn't put this one on. It was because, but there was this one thing about debutantes and everything like that. And now she's like, oh yeah, and the debutantes in China, and there was some, you know, basically it gave respectability to her crook father. You know, and that's what the trophy wife is about, and the trophy daughter and everything like that. I mean, look at John McCain's daughter. I mean, you talk about a stupid blonde airhead. Don't even get me started on The View. But anyway, I mean, this is, you know, this is producing idiots, idiot women, who then have to sell their bodies. Have you looked at all of these profiles of all of these socialites and everything like that? All of them didn't have much brains in their head. And I guess that's how they ended up. Maybe that's why when I did the whole debutante thing, I was like, God, I feel like a piece of meat up on a butcher's block for sale. I mean, where's the difference in that? Okay. There is a difference between the slave trade and putting them up on the block to sell. But my point being, you know, it's still selling people. And I mean, believe me, that's what it is. And as I said in the last video, I don't have to sleep with anybody to get a job before. Now, can't for the life of me, even though I'm more qualified to be president of the United States, more qualified to be president than the World Bank, more qualified to be managing director of the IMF, more qualified, I forget who's the head of the UN these days, more qualified than any of them. I mean, for the past 12 years, I've been in lockdown. I mean, and the books that I have back here are nothing. I got a whole slew of them over there. I mean, and I keep on buying and reading, and I've read all of my life. I was pretty much of a bookworm. I mean, and that's not all I did. I mean, I had, you know, sports and friends, and this is one of the problems with all of these straight-A students from the Ivy League schools, and, you know, most of the profiles you'll see are rags to riches and, you know, straight-A students. Well, the straight-A students, first off, they're not the most intelligent people out there, because even in school, I was like, you know, I was smarter than my teachers, and a lot of my classmates, if they couldn't understand it, particularly in math, I'd explain it to them. I mean, my favorite is international econ. When I got a 99, they gave me a 98. I still contest that. On a class that even the econ majors failed. I turned around and I taught it to my, you know, anybody who asked me. They all passed with flying colors. But the teacher was just pissed off that I caught him on a grammatical error, rather than asking, my God, lady, how did you do this? Everybody fails. I was like, well, I do it all the time. So, I mean, and one of the problems that I had was, quite frankly, if I did You know, I mean, all the teachers said, oh, she could be a straight A student. She could be a straight A student if she just put some effort into it. Well, I did put effort into it when the subject interested me, but it was stupid. I'm not going to waste my time. I'm like, I'll get a C, you know, as I told my children, just pass those classes. You know, you don't have to be interested in everything and straight A's, straight A's, straight A's. And besides the fact, most of our educational system, it's just memorization. That's why, you know, you just gotta memorize enough to pass the test. Then it doesn't matter if you forget it all and you didn't understand anything that they were saying. You just gotta get the A. You gotta get the A. That's ridiculous, really ridiculous. And we need better education for our because the PhDs and MBAs never graduated from kindergarten. We need to teach our children to think, to question, to be curious, rather than just, you know, keeping up with the Joneses, getting an A, you know, appearing, oh God, appearances, appearing to be a lady. I mean, when they told me that in my divorce in Spain, you're a divorcee now, you have to appear to be a lady. I was like, I bit my tongue on a little witch of a lawyer. I said, I am a lady. And it's not for the car that I drive, it's not for the house that I live in, and it's not for the clothes I wear. It's for who I am and what I've done with my life. Ladies and you know, you can be the, you know, poorest person in the world. One of the greatest ladies I ever knew was my ex-husband's maternal grandmother. And believe me, that woman, I mean, she poor. Her husband, he escaped after the Civil War in Spain. The grandfathers were on the losing side, anarchist and communist. Her husband was the communist, and he had to flee, and he left her in Spain with a child. And I mean, you know, having a child by a communist in post-Civil War Spain, Franco Spain, was not an easy thing. And she was pretty illiterate and everything like that. But she, you know, she just moved ahead always with her life. And she was, I always thought, she's just such a great lady because she has such warmth and caring. The most positive part of my ex-husband's family. But, so it's not what you wear. It's who you are and what you do with your life. And if you are in a position of privilege, it's not so you can go to a bunch of stupid parties and dress up and go and spend, my God, you know, really, it drives me crazy how much money that people spend. I mean, they threw them out of my house in Madrid. I got some, you know, I bought clothes and stuff like this, maybe $15, Marshalls, Nordstrom's Rack and everything like that. But you don't have to spend a fortune to look nice and dress nice, and, you know, have a little inventiveness. Don't you know, black and gray and all of that all of the time, you know. So anyway, I also wanted to read this part, recognizing the narcissism epidemic. Sorry, it's small print, so. Recognizing the narcissism epidemic is the first step to stopping it. The analogy to the obesity epidemic is useful here. Definite steps are being taken to combat obesity. Soda machines are being removed from schools, exercise programs suggested, and nutrition education plans implemented. I'll get into this later with Adele Davis. These you know, window dressing efforts to transform the unhealthy eating habits and unhealthy living habits of this society needs to go beyond a couple of, you know, little campaigns by, oh, let's get rid of this soda machines or something. No, you need to get in and dig in and get rid of all the crap. And that's a lot of stuff. I mean, one of my pet peeves is the candy. You know, at the checkout. Of course, the kids, they see it, they want it. That should be prohibited. So, not so with narcissism. In many cases, the suggested cure for narcissistic behavior is feeling good about yourself. After all, the thinking goes, 14-year-old Megan wouldn't post revealing pictures of herself on MySpace if she had higher esteem. So parents redouble their effort telling Megan she's special, beautiful, and great. This is like suggesting that an obese person would feel much better if she just ate more donuts. Megan wants everyone to see just how beautiful and special she is, and it's not because she thinks she is ugly, it's because she thinks she's hot, and perhaps more importantly, because she lives in a narcissistic society where she might garner praises, status, and friends by displaying blatant sexuality. Now, this whole thing about friends, get into that. Let me finish this. In fact, narcissism causes almost all of the things that Americans hoped high esteem would prevent, including aggression, materialism, lack of caring for others, and shallow values. In trying to build a society that celebrates high esteem, self-expression, and loving yourself, Americans have inadvertently created more narcissists and a culture that brings out the narcissistic behavior in all of us. Now, as to the whole friend stuff, this is just like, if I slept with men, then I'd have a job or something like that. I mean, everybody in the cesspool with the activists, the NGOs, in the IMF, the 7 years that I was there, it's all about building alliances and being friends. I mean, this was in the Institute for Capacity Development. It was out of control. I mean, we'll get into Gina Pioni, Sharmini Corey, Anna Day, Kate Phillips. I'd love to find out why Kate Phillips left. I want to know the little backstory there, because that's going to be an interesting one. I'm sure it was a cat fight. Adrian Thapa. It's all, grappling up the ladder of success. You can either sleep with the men or kiss ass with all of the women and try and be their friends. They're friends. I mean, this is one thing I have to say that I appreciate about men. And I've always felt better company with men than women. And I always say the only reason I had women friend or girlfriends was because I went to a girls' boarding school and I was a stay-at-home mom, so I would have had a kind of lonely existence. I didn't have girlfriends. But I have to say, men, they're, and I'll get into this in another presentation, they're more direct. A man, he's got a problem with you, he comes up and it's done. Women, first, they can't do that. It's not socially acceptable. So they've, developed all of these cat fights and backstabbing and everything like that. But the problem is they do it all the time because we bring them up to be idiots. And I'm not talking to put them into schools and this I'll get into. This is another thing that I wanted to, because this is one of my pet peeves. So, be a winner, not a lover. Parents have also been whipped into a hyper-competitive frenzy by a wave of new baby products and promises to promote cognitive development or develop thinking skills. Baby Einstein videos are the most famous example. The title seems to suggest that you will help your child become a genius. Parents buy baby Mozart tapes believing they will make their children smarter, Although on the surface it's a good thing that parents care about their children's learning, these products can promote the narcissistic values of hyper-competitive competition and winning at all cost, the Illuminati, while not considering the values of caring and considering for others. Parents buy baby Einstein videos, not baby Mother Teresa videos. So, this whole thing, first, this whole thing about our children being geniuses and geniuses and geniuses, there are few geniuses in this world. Very few. And this pressure to be a genius, I mean, I'll get into that. My father's a genius, and I guess I inherited the curse. And one of my sons, when he had to be about 3 years old, 3.5, and he likes puzzles, so they kept on buying him puzzles, and it was so easy. We finally, I don't know what the adult puzzles, 10,000, 20,000 pieces, but those huge, enormous, with this huge coffee table, and we put it out there. And everybody would come over and just be like, oh my God, amazed, because he'd be putting this thing together faster than any adult out there who does puzzles all the time and everything, and he just and it is this ability to see all of the little parts of a picture as well as the big picture. And it's not something, I don't think it's something that you can really learn. I think it's innate. Now, having said that, when I was pregnant with my first child, I just, was like, well, I don't know how to be a mother. All I know is I don't want to repeat what my mom did. And she just passed away, and I want to remain respectful for my mother, because she did have, some positive influences in my life and everything like that. But it was old school Nancy Reagan, we'll get into that later, control of her children. And so I didn't want to do that. So I bought Dr. Spock's book. I was living in Brussels at the time. Getting English books was like gold mines. And so it became my Bible. That and Adele Davis for the health, just the vitamins and the health and the eating and everything like that. But it was my Bible. And the thing is, Dr. Spock would be having a nervous breakdown if he saw what was going on. No, your children, you want to be loving and supporting and caring and help them, learn, but they also have to make mistakes. And you have to, if they make a mistake, my kids, you make a mistake, okay, did you learn your lesson? Then fine. Well, if you didn't learn anything from it, it was a pretty stupid mistake. And we all make mistakes, and we all have to learn from it, and then we move forward. So this whole thing about producing geniuses, how many times have I seen parents, oh, my child's such a genius. No, I know he's not. No, she's not. And you're going to produce a Frankenstein or a Frankenstein with or the Bride of Frankenstein with, all of your BS. Believe me, the whole genius stuff, there is nothing that makes people more jealous in this world than a really intelligent person. Believe me. And they'll stab you in the back. I have a thing about Barbara Streisand. I'll read others. And she's right on that one. So, let's go on. I hope my computer hasn't gone down. Oh, come on. This one is on its last leg. Okay. Then I wanted to go. Oh. So, this, oh God, incredible.
Why do we still too often value girls simply for their bodies instead of their minds?
That's just one of the powerful messages from the World Bank Group IMF Spring Meetings 2016. From across the globe, world leaders, humanitarians, and beneficiaries came together to share their experiences and ideas to end extreme poverty. A sustainable forestry advocate from Nicaragua, the UN Secretary General and Jordan's Queen Rania on the refugee crisis, a famed chef on food security, a domestic abuse survivor, and even Bill Gates on how to finance development. I caught up with World Bank Group President Twenge Campbell to get his impressions. There have been so many great events this week. What were some of your personal highlights?
Well, if you go back from the early part of the week, we did this event on preventing sexual and gender-based violence, and it was really very, very touching. It was really an important moment to say, look, we're going to look at this, we're going to keep our attention on this. Then we had Michelle Obama here, and we were able to announce that we're going to put $2.5 billion into education for adolescent girls, and she gave such a great speech. We were able to launch the Global Connectivity Initiative, where we're going to scale up the internet connectivity for 1.5 billion people. More recently, we've been really focusing on the forced displacement, the refugee problem, and it was
Forced
amazing
displacement.
that,
I had to
something that
flee
started
Spain.
as an idea,
Forced
Secretary
displacement.
General and President of the Islamic Development Bank, Dr. Ali, just 6 months later, we had 140 million grants, $1 billion in concession loans, 500 million in guarantees. So those were some great highlights.
Many people are saying that these are the best spring meetings yet. Why do you think the spring meetings attract more and more global interest?
There's been a significant change in understanding of who we are as a World Bank. Not only do we continue to provide direct support for client countries based on their priorities, in doing that, we're also tackling some of the biggest challenges: pandemics, climate change, and now forced displacement and refugees. The IMF is also, Christine Lagarde has been such a great leader. There seems to be more interest. We have many more people from the UN than we've ever had before. We have many more people interested in the issues that we're talking about than ever before. I hope it keeps going.
I mean, just, this type of hypocrisy is what the people who are being oppressed and that know this is all total BS, these are the people who flip out. This is what I keep on telling to these guys. Ask anybody who knows me. Oh, I will talk you blue in the face. I will shout at you. I will get angry and all of that stuff. But, I'm a non-violent person. I'm never the only person I ever hit with my little sister when we were little. And she's the one who taught me that getting violent gets you nowhere. It just gets you punished. Forced displacement. I mean, come on. I was forcibly displaced from Spain to the United States. I come back here, with no money, trying to keep a roof over my head. I get a job at the IMF Family Association. I mean, a disaster. Disaster administratively. I mean, the whole place was the same disaster that I saw when I was Bogota in the French Expat Association. I was on the American Women's Club, Bogota. There was also a Hispanic initiative to try and get some coordination between all of the expat wives clubs. And that was from Cindy Pereira. She was actually the one who came up with the idea, and that's kind of eventually where I got the idea for Global Expats, to try and bring all of these, organizations together and move forward. But see, the thing is that they're just filled with a bunch of narcissistic, social climbing witches. The Federation of American Women's Club overseas, they only attract, it's less than 1% of the 7 million Americans living abroad. Because most people don't want to have anything to do with these social climbers. When I got to Bogota, my ex, he's Spanish, and he was Banco Ganadero, which is a subsidiary of Banco Bilbao Vizcaya Argentaria. And people told me, they said, oh God, stay away from Leticia, the Association Leticia. Those women are the worst. And they were. And these were the wives of my husband's colleagues. And I mean, my God, I was the gringa Merlock, and I didn't spend my days with them at the country club kissing their ass, but rather doing all sorts of things in Bogota. I mean, some of it was for me, some of it was for my community, some of it was for my children. The thing is about having a balanced life, but not just living for yourself to sit there in some country club. I mean, the idea of all of these nouveau-riche people and everything like that, that being rich and having a place of privilege in this world means that you sit in a country club. No, you're the parasites on society. I mean, I was treated like a parasite on society, and I have been for the past 15 years because I opted out and I stayed home with my children. But see, I was the parasite on my husband, on society, on everybody. I'm like, are you people kidding me? I was paid nothing, and I contributed so much more than any of you out there. I mean, I didn't produce any problem children or anything like that. And I mean, I haven't seen them for 12 going on 13 years, but they're good kids. And I know they'll be okay. Why? Because I did. Oh my goodness. There's one passport photo. It was when my youngest was born and we got a passport for him. I mean, my hair, I look like a mess. And I was like, of course I did. I had a toddler of not even 2 years old and a newborn baby and no help. And I mean, I worked my butt off because in Brussels, I mean, I didn't have any family there. I didn't, we were in near Stockel, and the American Women's Club was at Waterloo. And so even that, but I worked my butt off, but I adored staying home with my children. And that's what we have to produce, societies where women can stay home with their children and take care of their children and raise them. Not the shut up stupid, not whack. There has to be a balance. God, am I going to lose you again? So this is also with Martin Luther King's thing. Okay, let me cut you off there. So this also gets into it. What Martin Luther King is saying here. What is important. Yeah, come on.
This is the most important and crucial period of your lives, for what you do now and what you decide now at this age may well determine which way your life shall go. And the question is whether you have a proper, a solid, and a sound blueprint. And I want to suggest some of the things that should be in your life's blueprint. Number one in your life's blueprint should be a deep belief in your own dignity, your own worth, and your own somebodyness. Don't allow anybody to make you feel that you are nobody. Always feel that you count. Always feel that you have worth. And always feel that your life has ultimate significance. Secondly, in your life's blueprint, you must have, as a basic principle, the determination to achieve excellence in your various fields of endeavor. You're going to be deciding as the days and the years unfold what you will do in life, what your life's work will be. Once you discover what it will be, set out to do it, and to do it well. Be a bush if you can't be a tree. If you can't be a highway, just be a trail. If you can't be the sun, be a star. For it isn't by size that you win or you fail. Be the best of whatever you are.
See, it's not the size, whether you succeed or fail. And really, I mean, not everybody has to be a doctor or a lawyer. And I'm so sick and tired. I mean, my dear, dear father, who also passed, both of them passed from COVID. And I'm furious because I'm trying to find somebody in the thrombolytic arena. That's his specialty and his thing. And so anyway, we need plumbers, we need electricians, we need construction workers, we need teachers, We need, firemen. We need, police officers. We need less of those. And we need some that are going to stop putting their knee on everybody's neck and stop helping the abusers rape and kill their wives or girlfriends or whoever and covering up for it. So we need manual labor, and there's no disgrace in that, and everybody should be treated with dignity. I mean, that's one of the things that I learned from my father. He's one of the most, smartest men I've ever known. But never in my life did I ever see him treat anybody with disrespect, denigrate anybody. And that's, one of the most important things that I learned from him. Being a true genius and being a true, leader or whatever it is about caring for people, listening to people. Otherwise, believe me, your soul ends up in hell. But anyway, this is what I wanted to say with Martin Luther King from The Many Wonders of Admiring Yourself, again from the Narcissism Epidemic book. It all began with such good intentions. American culture encourages self-admiration with the belief that it will improve our lives. Admiring yourself feels good and makes you happy if you believe in yourself. You are more likely to keep trying even when you don't succeed the first time. Self-respect is no longer restricted to the privileged few. You can feel good about yourself no matter what your race, sex, or sexual orientation. So why would they say self-respect is no longer restricted to the privileged few? That's because before, you had the top echelon and everybody there, oh, we're wonderful, we're wonderful, we're wonderful. And everybody else at the bottom, and this goes with the slaves or the servitude or, the manual workers or something like that everybody treats them like they're a piece of dirt. So of course, they end up not having self-respect. I mean, my Lord, if I had a penny for every time I've been called fat, ugly, and stupid from jealous people, I'd be a wealthy woman. But also, I knew that it was just their stupid jealousy and it wasn't true. And also, there's a huge difference between self-admiration and self-respect, confidence, dignity, or any of that. Self-admiration is it's admiring yourself. Self-respect is having respect for who you are and what you do. And that you can only get if you do something important with your life. And important can be raising wonderful children. Important can be a teacher that has, helped children identify their strengths and develop them.